Welcome to my father's show, coldlaser.tv.
Hi, my name is Dr. Todd Austin from Austin Family Chiropractic in Verdun, Illinois, and welcome to this episode of Cold Laser TV. Today I am coming to you from my Buccaneers room, and that is in tribute to the sad news I heard yesterday that Steve Sabol of NFL Films had passed away at the age of 69. And Steve Sabol, I never got a chance to meet him, but NFL Films obviously has been a major influence on my life, as I've been a Buccaneers fan since the age of 12. Of course, when I first became a Bucs fan, they wore these colors, Bucko Bruce the Pirate. They were seen in a lot of blooper reels back then. That was before they were the force to be reckoned with that they are now. And of course you see a jersey here of the first Buccaneer ever, Leroy Selman, who passed away within the last year as well. Now today, my topic, to tie that in with NFL Films, one of my heroes, Leroy Selman, and Steve Sabol. My topic today is going to be cold laser therapy and competitive athletics. So it's interesting, I've told you in previous episodes that I am a team chiropractor and team trainer for a semi-pro football team, the Springfield Foxes of the Mid-States Football League. Earlier in the season, it was like in the preseason, I got a Facebook message from our head coach, and he said something about, man, I know you've got cold lasers that you use on the guys. I don't know anything about it, or I didn't know anything about it. But he said, I just watched a segment from the 2012 Olympics as they were gearing up for the Olympics. It was like some preliminary segments they were showing. I never got to see the segment he was talking about, but he said they were showing that a lot of these Olympic athletes are getting cold laser therapy. And he said, how cool is that? That my team, my semi-pro football team, gets to enjoy the same benefits as these Olympic athletes from all over the world. So yeah, I agree with him. I think that's pretty cool that my athletes are afforded the same privileges as the Olympic athletes from all over the country and all over from different nations around the globe. So it's pretty neat that cold laser therapy is kind of come full force, and most professional sports teams are using cold lasers. Most college sports teams are using cold lasers. The last 3 Stanley Cup champions that I know of, the LA Kings, the Boston Bruins, and the Chicago Blackhawks, all have made use of cold laser therapy during their Stanley Cup winning runs. In fact, I own the same laser devices that those 3 teams used when they made their Stanley Cup runs. So I think that's pretty cool. But the way that cold laser therapy works for competitive athletics, it's some pretty interesting stuff. Now, if you ever had a biology class or a chemistry class, you may remember the Krebs Cycle. The Krebs Cycle is this series of reactions, chemical reactions, and what happens is the end result of the Krebs Cycle is it produces what's called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. So ATP is actually the building block that cells use for energy. Now, with competitive athletics, we want to think more about muscles. So for example, let's say we have an athlete who's doing one-arm bicep curls. He's going to go to complete muscle failure, complete muscle fatigue, meaning he can't do another rep. So what happens, he could take a break for 2 minutes and then come back and he'd be able to do some more. But if we went in there and we lasered the belly of that muscle, and obviously not through clothes, but we got directly on the muscle, lasered the belly of that muscle, we could laser that, if we got the right wavelength and the right power level, we could go in there and we could laser the belly of that muscle for 30 seconds, and then we could give him that dumbbell again and he could pump out some more reps. That's because by using cold lasers, it has been clinically proven, and with double-blind placebo-controlled studies and the whole works, that we can produce ATP, or the building blocks of cellular energy, with cold laser therapy. So before the event, we want a laser to produce more ATP so that our athlete can go out there and do whatever event it is, whether it's competitive rowing or playing a football game, a volleyball tournament, whatever the case may be. So we laser our athlete, and then that athlete goes out there, has the most in the way of ATP available to utilize during said sporting event. Now after the event, so example, let's use our bodybuilder that's doing the bicep curls. After every set, what he's actually doing is he's breaking down or tearing down muscle fibers, and the body then is going to need some time to recuperate. Same thing if an athlete's going out and playing a 3-hour football game. His body's going to need some time to recuperate. So if we have certain muscle groups that tend to be our weaknesses, our weak areas, then what we can do is we can use different lasers on different settings and go in there afterwards, after the event, after the muscles were broken down, so to speak, and we can go in there and we can laser those areas, and that's going to prevent the chance that that person is going to get hurt as a result of that event. So let's say we had a guy with a weak hamstring muscle. We could laser him pre-event and in the hamstring muscle to give it more ATP, which would decrease the chance of there being an injury there. Then after the event, we could laser the hamstring muscle as well, and that's going to minimize the chance of him having an injury or some flare-up of what was previously a problem in the next 24 to 48 hours following the athletic event. So that's how cold laser therapy works, ladies and gentlemen, in competitive athletics. It's a wonderful asset to be using cold lasers on the sidelines. Makes my job as a trainer, makes my job as a chiropractor a whole lot easier. Of course, I also see competitive athletes in my office, JFL football players, junior football league, semi-pro football players, high school basketball players, etc. So it makes my job a whole lot easier when I can use cold laser therapy to help my competitive athletes get them back in the game sooner, help them to prevent injuries or to decrease the chance of them having as many injuries as they may have had we not used the cold lasers. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cold Laser TV. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is below, draustin@royal.net. Thank you. You gotta love the light, cold laser therapy, and have a great day. And go Bucks.